Zelda series can at times get dark. And then I mean places and characters that would in real life torment your spirit for the remainder of your days. This is CR's list of 10 places you would not want to visit in The Legend of Zelda. PS, we'll be touching on some past theories on this channel, so a spoiler warning is in place. And these are in no particular order.
Have you ever wondered what the inside of the moon looks like? Well, it hopefully doesn't look like this. As we all know by now, after awakening all the 4 giants of Termina and cornering Skull Kid at the top of the clock tower, the evil spirit sealed inside Majora's mask abandons its puppet and retreats to the core of the falling moon to bring a decisive end to the land and people of Termina. What follows is one of the greatest WTF moments in Zelda history. The inside of this hellish substance is a peaceful field full of playful, masked, happy mask salesmen. The inside of the moon is creepy because it feels so surreal and out of place in the middle of all the imminent apocalypse taking place right under our feet. The lack of suspense, danger, and the disappearance of the ticking clock give a fake feeling of comfort, which is more creepy and a greater mindfuck than the actual final showdown against Majora. Losing a war sucks. Being occupied is even worse, especially when the invading forces march in, kill, and force the remainder of your population to flee from your homeland, and then repurpose your most sacred place of worship into its most notorious prison and site of executions and banishments, including the botched one of Ganondorf following his defeat in the Gerudo-Hylian War. If the moon is hell in the sky, then Arbiter's Grounds is hell on Earth. This place can't be described by any other description but messed up. Filled with skeleton soldiers, evil and freaky pose, booby traps, ghoul rats, stalkins, stalfoses, red dead knights with massive swords, the remains of the Hylian soldiers who fell in the Gerudo-Hylian War, poison mites that will drag you to your death in the quicksand, the vengeful spirit of Death Sword, and finally the massive skeleton beast that is STALLORD. Everything inside these 4 walls will kill you. Stay the hell out of Arbiter's Grounds.
Romani's ranch, the stuff nightmares are made of. Imagine being a little orphaned girl, trapped with your sister in a completely deserted ranch and blocked from the outside world when fucking rocks! Your only neighbor is a depressed cuckoo harvester, as you witness the slow torture that is the fall of the moon right above your head. Still not creepy enough? How about freaking aliens who descend in the night to steal away your cows, and then goes after abducting you up in the sky into things that leave you in the state of a lobotomized, disoriented being, just to return back to your impending doom 2 nights later? At least your sister let you have some Chateau Romani in the end.
A small medieval town full of honest and hardworking people with that perfect higgledy charm. Great, now you done it, Link. Ruined Castle Town is more than a nightmare, it is the prime motivation for taking down Ganondorf. Clear and simple. Just look at what he did to this cheerful place, destroying every building, enterprise, and murdering the inhabitants who were unable to escape to Kakariko, leaving them standing aimlessly, seeking every poor living being to drain them out of their life. And for God's sake, what did Ganondorf do to the proud Hyrule Castle? It's creepy as fuck! Clock Town. Just the end of Clock Town. The transformation of Clock Town's inhabitants from day 2 to 3 and then to the desperate final hours in Majora's Mask is just heart-crushing. From a town bustling with life and anticipation for the Great Carnival, to a deserted place full of crushed and panicked souls, terrified city servants, a mayor who has completely submitted to his fate, and hopeless love. There is nothing more devastating than witnessing the most living and breathing town and world you have to know and love in the Zelda series being so brutally taken away by the creepiest smile of the moon and heart-wrenching music playing in the background as the clock turns down not to the next day, but the end, the apocalypse.
Imagine traversing a hellish section of a temple filled with zombie bokoblins and deadly traps. But what is the way out of it? A super thin spider's thread. Seeing no other options, you climb this thing. A number of zombie bokoblins surround your thread and begin to climb, latching onto you and try to drag you back into the confines of hell. The spider's thread had to be on this list due to its inspiration from the short story of the same name by Ryonosuke Akutagawa, where Shakyamuni, or Buddha, lowered a spider's thread down to Kandata, whose only good act in life was to not kill a spider. In the moment other sinners in hell began to climb the spider's thread, Kandata, the sinner, shouted that the thread was his alone, and in that very moment the thread broke, casting Kandata and the other sinners back to hell.
The duality of light and darkness, sun and moon, goes throughout the Earth Temple, where Link, along with Medli, have to use their smarts and wits to conquer the dangers of this temple. This consists of deadly fog, floor masters, red and blue bubbles, dark nuts, spinning stalfos with spiked clubs, and finally, the Redeads. How did they possibly make these cel-shaded cartoony walking deads even more creepy and frightening than the ones found in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask? Oh right, they jump out of coffins and scream louder and longer. With the stare of doom in their wide open mouth, it looks like they are about to bite your head off. But instead, they go on to both bite and strangle our poor hero. The Sheikah are a mysterious, but at the same time incredibly dark tribe with a past that is nothing but horrifying. The best example of this belief is the Shadow Temple in Ocarina of Time. Shadow Temple. Here is gathered Hyrule's bloody history of greed and hatred. Hidden away behind Kakariko Graveyard, the Shadow Temple was not meant to be explored by outsiders, who will have to look far for a temple, which is as unwelcoming as these blood-soaked catacombs full of war criminals. Packed with guillotines, invisible spitting mechanical Grim Reapers, and hidden pathways, lethal traps, wallmasters, Gibdos, Redeads, a literal ferry to death, and a ton of references to ancient Greek mythology. And at the end waits the master drummer without heads or hands, Bongo Bongo. But more on him soon.
IKANA, also known as the Province of Death, is an inhospitable wasteland following the unresolved Garo-IKANA War. Everything in this province is haunted, from its graveyard where the great Captain Kita and the IKANA royal family rest, through the spring water cave where the dark soul of the composer Sharp haunts, to the surreal music box house surrounded by Gibtos, to the horrors of IKANA Well and the ruins of IKANA Castle where the king goes to IKANA and his dumb guards await for salvation. This results in one of the freakiest transformations upon playing the Elegy of Emptiness. Still not enough? Well, how about a tower built to defame gods where the Grim Reaper himself awaits? We rest our case. Stay away from IKANA.
If the Shadow Temple is scary, then the bottom of the well is just messed up. And then we mean totally. Not enough that this place is filled with poisonous waters, Gibdos, Redeads, Wallmasters, and likes. It is the first place you face the head-biting Death Hand and see the remains of his former victims. That is, if you aren't dumb enough to enter the Shadow Temple without the lens of truth. But the true creepy factor to this mini-dungeon is attached to the backstory of this place. A long time ago, there was a man in this very village who had an eye they said could see the truth. His house stood where the well is now. We believe that this person was none other than Bongo Bongo, as on one of the walls in the well has a head with an evil smile and two hands sticking out of the wall, just what Bongo Bongo is missing in the era of the Hero of Time. In our Wars of Hyrule timeline, we theorize that Bongo Bongo, who once wielded the Lens of Truth, was executed by Impa for a terrible crime or treason committed towards the royal family. In order to steal his evil spirit, both of his arms and his head were cut off before Impa finished the deal. The proof of this can be traced to this sentence by Sheik/Zelda. Link, a terrible thing has happened. The evil shadow spirit has been released. Impa had sealed the evil shadow spirit in the bottom of the well. Naturally, upon breaking the seal in the adult timeline, Bongo Bongo rushed to his fallen Sheikah comrades in the Shadow Temple and dealt with Impa appropriately when she came to seal him again.
This concludes this year's Halloween special. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, comment and most importantly subscribe to Commonwealth Realm for more Zelda, Breath of the Wild and Nintendo Switch videos. And give us a message in the comments if you wish for the return of Zelda theories on this channel. You can also message us on Twitter through @CommonRealm. Until the next video, this was the Commonwealth Realm and we will see you in the next one.